Namaste. A warm welcome to all of you. Now we will come to the Ayurvedic perspective. Basically, Ayurveda is the ancient science, which most important thing of Ayurveda is it focuses on preventive aspect of any disease. So now again in this pandemic, we know the importance of prevention. Up till now, we were focusing, or traditionally we were compelled to focus on the curative aspect. If I get a disease, I will get the treatment. But now we know that I should be able to remain fit so that I should not fall ill, because every disease doesn't have medicine. That is the fact which we have learned from Corona. So Ayurveda it has two important purposes. First one is swasthasya swasthya rakshanam. That is to maintain a healthy state of body and mind for prolonged life, for the perfect health. And then if diseases come, if diseases arise in our body, then Ayurveda also treats them. So aturasya vikara prashamanam. It's not that if we take proper precaution, no chances are there that we will have diseases. It's not like that. We can have some diseases. There are various reasons, but if at all we are in that phase, then also Ayurveda gives us the cure for the diseases. Then according to Ayurveda, the perfect state of health is the balanced person who is having balance between Vata, Pitta, Kapha, that is the three dosha, whose digestive fire is very good, it is very balanced, it can digest the food very well, and it is also all the bodily activities like excretion, all movements, everything is in normal, and also it includes the state of mental health. Mental health is also very important. So Ayurveda has inculcated it in its definition that prasanna, atma, indriya and mana. If that is there, then only you are called physically fit, that is swastha. So Ayurveda focuses on this swasthya. Then what about description of immunity in Ayurveda? So Ayurveda describes immunity as Vadhikshamatva. Vyadhikshamatva is the one which is responsible for fighting against the diseases. Now Ayurveda has very typical discrimination. It is very minute. So it has described it as in two parts, Vyadhikshamatva. One is the one Vyadhi Bala Virodhitvam. If diseases arise, then to reduce the effect of diseases, there is Vyadhikshamatva, and the other one is Vyadhi Utpada Pratibandhakatvam. That is, that is the one which prevents from producing the diseases. So that both are included in the concept of Vyadhikshamatva in Ayurveda. Now this all is included regarding the health, as there are our body is formed with multiple dhatus, rasa, rakta, mams, etc. So all dhatus, the strength of all dhatus will be benefited by some processes which we will soon get to know. All these processes will enhance the strength, the bala of our body, and then the diseases will be kept away. Now another important concept is then who can capture diseases according to Ayurveda. The processes, the person who are having Ati Sthula Sharira, that is obese person, Ati Krusha Sharira, that is those people who are extra thin, those whose muscles and bones are weak, then overall weak personalities, then those who are having unwholesome diet or very low diet, and important thing is mentally weak person are susceptible to diseases. They are not able to tolerate the impact of the diseases. Now, can you relate them with the comorbidities which now all of us know of corona? Yes, corona had shown us that obesity or weak immunity or unhealthy diet or even negative attitude towards the disease can lead to complications. Whereas if you are having a healthy body and healthy mind, you can successfully overcome the diseases. So this principle again is depicted in our ancient texts. So now this is the factor where yoga works. Yoga helps us to overcome all these obstacles. It helps to reduce obesity, it helps to increase muscle strength, it increases our digestifier so that the diet will be proper, it increases our mental strength also. So this is the point where yoga works. So Ayurveda and yoga both work in coordination for a complete state of health. First we will have a look at the principles of Ayurveda, and then we will have some yoga asana or some yogic principle. Now in this all discussion, we have learned some word about bal. Bal is that is strength. So strength of our body, strength of our muscle, we know bal is strength of our muscles, but strength of our body is also included in bal. So bal according to Ayurveda is the integrity of muscle that improves. It is related to your voice, it is related to your complexion. All normal functioning of the body is related to bal. Now this bal is now this bal is of three types. It is again related to immunity. The bal which is sahaj, that is inborn, which we have seen in innate immunity, that is sahaj bal. Then according to Ayurveda, there is a kalaj bal that easily we can observe based on the seasons or age of the person. Our strength changes. In young children, in young age, we are having lots of strength, physical, mental. As the age increases, all the strengths start reducing. Similarly, in the morning, we feel fresh. By evening, our strength decreases. In seasonal variations also, in winter, our strength is at maximum level. In summer, when we sweat a lot, we feel low of energy. This strength is also related to your immunity. When you are feeling weak, when your bal is low, when you are feeling weak, you should restrict your activities. You should. It's not that everyday schedule is fixed and you should continue it. You should keep on doing the same things. According to seasonal variation, your diet should be changed. According to daily variation, your diet should change. Your exercise should change. Though our activities, most of us can't change with working life, but other things which are in our hand, definitely we can change them to maintain our health. Then the last one, important one, is Yukti Krutabala, the acquired strength which is achieved by combination of diet and exercise. Here, diet and exercise, yoga, various asana, and any form of exercise. In fact, is very helpful for maintaining the or gaining the Yuktikruta Bala. Then factors those are responsible for immunity are Dinacharya. Dinacharya includes the daily regime. This is again a very important contribution of Ayurveda to our life. Dinacharya, Rutucharya and Rasayan all are specialties of Ayurveda. So let's have a quick look at them. What daily regime we must follow. What Ayurveda says is wake up in Brahma Muhurta. Now everybody, please analyze yourself on these lines. Are we able to wake up in early morning stage? Like you should be able to wake up on your own with a peaceful sleep. You should be able to wake up. For that thing, your whole day's schedule should be in perfect coordination. Then only you will get a peaceful sleep. Then only you will be able to sleep on time. And then only you will be able to get up early in the morning. Because getting up early in the morning has a lot of significance over our body. There are various hormones in our body and the cycle of hormones. There is a rhythm in the cycle of hormones in our body. Though that rhythm is established by various hormones, and those hormones are activated once you start waking up early in the morning. Your body is fresh, your mind is fresh. So waking up early morning is the most important thing to start your schedule, to start your dinacharya. Once you start doing that, then evacuation. Now all our body must be cleaned. So feces and urine, stool and urine, you are able to pass early in the morning, then you are healthy. If you take some time, you can initially take help of warm water or some exercises, but early evacuation of bowels, that is stools, is must for health throughout the day. Then cleaning of the tooth. Cleaning of the teeth is another important aspect. We were bombarded with the information. We used to have some sweet test for cleaning of the teeth. But what Ayurveda says is we must clean our teeth with some bitter or some kashaya ras like khair and all, not sweet but other ras which are to be included for cleaning of the teeth, because our mouth is full of mucus secretions of the night. So to clean that, sweet test, what it does is it creates a coat inside the mouth, whereas cleaning with other like a bitter test or some sour test will help you to clean up the mucus, and that will help you for proper digestion throughout the day. Then Nasya is also important. Nasya is the nasal therapy, that is adding drops of oil into the nose, because that is helpful for the health of respiratory system, health of our brain. Simply adding some medicated oil like Anutailam, or we can use ghee also. Now in this corona, there is a lot of information about Nasya, how it helps to cure diseases, to prevent diseases. Then Gandush, that is gargling with oil, is also important concept. It basically strengthens the digestive system, or it even improves the glow on the face. Then comes the important aspect, Abhyanga and Udvartan. Abhyanga is oil massage to the body. Actually in Ayurveda daily regime, massage to whole body is advised with oil, because oil mitigates Vata dosha. It removes Vata dosha. It improves the strength of the body. Now here it improves the quality of your sleep. It improves your hair structure. It improves the skin tone. And basically it helps for the prevention of pains, tiredness, debility, all those things related to the immune system. And ultimately it is helpful for longevity, because it provides nourishment throughout the body. Once we massage the oil to the skin, though it is applied to the skin, circulation throughout the body increases. What we need to do is to improve the circulation throughout the body and balance doshas. So Abhyanga is very important aspect of daily regime. Now with practical aspect, we are not able to do Abhyanga early morning. If we are not able to do it early morning, you can at least do foot massage, that is Padabhyanga, by bedtime. While going to bed, you can do at least foot massage once a day, once a week, full body massage with medicated oil, or simply if you are not having any diseases, you can use till oil, sesame oil for massage. Medicated oils are always better for better relief. And if you are having some aches or pains or some joint problems or muscle problems, then you should massage that, particularly if a particular joint like knee joint or ankle joint is hurt or it is in trouble, it is paining you, then you can use medicated oil to massage that particular part. If you are healthy, then at least try doing Padabhyanga daily, and once a week full body massage. You can do it by yourself or from a proper therapist, then you will see the benefits. Padabhyanga helps to calm the mind. It relaxes and revitalizes the nervous system. Many qualities, basically it helps to improve the sleep. So we can do it at bedtime, removes all the fatigue. It also helps for prevention of diseases like sciatica. Any disease of legs can be cured by Padabhyanga. So Padabhyanga should be included in our daily routine. Then comes important aspect of our daily regime, that is Ahar, diet. So Ahar, Ayurveda has stated 3 pillars of life. First is Ahar. So the diet which we consume should include all the 6 tastes, that is sweet, sour, salty, hot, bitter and astringent. All these taste must be included in our daily diet. Each taste has its importance. Like I said in Danta Dhawan, in cleaning of teeth, astringent taste is very important for cleaning the systems. Similarly, for improving the digestion, some bitterness is important. But according to Prakriti, you can have the proportion of these rasas that can vary. Then considering diet, we must consider about the quality of food. Some foods are heavy to digest and some foods are light to digest. So considering the quality, like if we have cheese or paneer, a small piece you will be able to digest. It will take a longer duration. Whereas if we take some puffs like jowar puffs or even rice puffs, all puffs we can digest quickly, same quantity. So that way paneer is heavy to digest, cheese is heavy to digest, or puffs are light to digest. The normal dietary things like wheat or rice or everything what we have in vegetables we have, they are medium. They're not too heavy, not too light. Even non-veg food is heavy to digest. Likewise, you can categorize the food and adjust your diet accordingly. Important thing is you should fill your stomach half with solid food items, then 1/4 will with liquids, and 1/4 of your stomach must be kept empty for proper churning, proper digestion. Usually when, like in festivities or many times, if our favorite food is there, we eat full stomach, overfull it, then the digestive process becomes slow because there is no space for churning of the food. Churning is important, then the digestion will be proper. The digestive fire is there. So consider it as a fire. So you can't overstress the fire. If a fire is there, you can't burden with too much of fuel, or you can't give less fuel. It has to be maintained with proper fuel to maintain the integrity of the fire. So the food should be taken in this proportion. 1/4 part of your stomach, capacity of stomach, should be empty. Like you should feel that I have some part empty. I have not completely full. That much quantity is sufficient for healthy living. Then the ideal diet should be the one that increases the strength of the body. It should be taken warm. The diet should be hot, freshly cooked. It should not be dry. There are actually diet according to Ayurveda. We can describe or about 1 hour, 2 hour session will be completely on diet. But here are some key points just for the introduction, that the diet should be warm, light to digest, according to your capacity. Know your body and have your diet. The quantity, as I mentioned earlier, that should be followed. And there are some incompatible food articles according to Ayurveda that should not be eaten, like having dahi, curd at bedtime is not advocated in Ayurveda because it has opposite action on our body. Like similarly, fruits and milk together is viruddha ahar, incompatible diet according to Ayurveda. So such food articles should be avoided for healthy state of body. For balancing the diet, at least what we can follow is, if it's not that we should not have any changes or we should have healthy diet only, because my mental aspect of diet is also important. So your mind should also be fresh. So eat according to your mind. The food which helps to refresh your mind should be taken. That also Ayurveda considers. So have your favorite food, but adjust it. Like if you want to have non-veg, you can take in the morning hours, in the lunch time, and then you can have your dinner according to your appetite at that time, on that day particular. If you are having low appetite on that particular day, or any sweet items like khoya items or paneer items, you can have them in the morning and get a feel of if that is properly digested or not. If not, have very light diet on that day. For dinner, you can have soups or fruits or some light diet, so that the digestion will come to balance within that day only. It won't be continued to ajirna avastha. Okay. Then vihar. Vihar is other activities in our day-to-day regime. So that vihar is also important aspect. Bhagavad Gita has mentioned this shlok, that the person who is having regulated diet and regulated activities, all activities must be regulated, and including sleep, then there will be a complete dispel of all unhappiness. Yoga will help to dispel all the unhappiness from that person's life. So vihar here includes all the body activities, like in moderation. If you are exercising, do it in moderation. Your work should be in moderation. It also includes your entertainment. So entertainment should also be in moderation. Nowadays, everyone has his or her own instrument, and whenever we are free, immediately our hands or our eyes go to our mobile or tab or something and for entertainment, but that is really harmful for us, that is really harmful for our immunity. So everything in moderation. It's not saying that avoid it completely. Moderation is the key for a healthier life. Now another factor, that is Nidra. Nidra is again one of the pillars, that is second pillar of health according to Ayurveda. What Nidra is, it's told in the shlok, in the text, in two controversial things. If you have proper sleep, you will feel sukha, that is wellness. If you don't have proper sleep, you will feel dukkha, or that is illness. It will nourish your body if in proper proportion. It will give you strength, it will increase your knowledge, it will increase your longevity, and if not taken in proper proportion on proper time, it will cause degeneration of the body. It can lead up to death. So that is the importance of Nidra in our life. Important aspect, very important aspect, usually which we neglect. 6 to 8 hours of sleep in proper timing. Another thing, that is in proper timing. If you sleep from 2 a.m., that is to midnight, to 10 a.m., and you are saying that I am having 8 hours sleep, then that is wrong. So remember, the first principle we have learned is Brahme Muhurte Uttishte. So to wake up early in the morning, to sleep according to that time, so that your sleep will be completed by early morning hours. So you should be able to sleep by, actually our body is made up for sleeping at around sunset, because when our body was made, there was no electricity. With these advances in science, some effects, bad effects we have on our health are the disadvantages of modernization, but we should be able to balance them with our lifestyle. So around 10:30 we should be able to go to bed, so that your sleep hours will be completed by 4:35, maximum 5:30. You should get up and start your daily routine. So sleep, very important aspect, don't neglect it. Many people think that I am exercising, I am focusing on diet, still I am not feeling that, I am not getting that wellness kind of feeling. Then check on your sleep pattern, check on your Vihar, that is daily regime, that is if your other activities are also balanced, then one will be able to gain state of health. So every time check it out what you are doing, and all those aspects, like from the beginning we are talking, or each and every aspect has importance. So consider each aspect and then follow your routine. Then Rutucharya is a concept of Ayurveda. In India we have 6 Rutus. 3 are of Uttarayan and 3 are of Dakshinayan. Weather changes affect our body, so we must adjust our diet or our regime, and as well as our exercises according to the Rutus which are there in the atmosphere. Like in winter we can exercise a lot, we can have healthy food or heavy to digest, like rich of fat food, like we celebrate Sankranti with til and all oily foods, so that til and good which increase our energies. That way in winter food should be according to that. In summer our appetite is low, so we should have fruits, we should have liquids more, like sharbats and all. Then in we must take care of the change in season phase. Every 2 months there is a seasonal change phase that is called Rutu Sandhikal in Ayurveda. That phase comes to everyone. If you pay attention to your body, you will notice that for 15 days, around 1 or 2 weeks, when season change is there, our appetite changes. We don't feel like having food, or we are having low appetite. We are having low energy. Suddenly some symptoms like increase in body heat or some weakness or more sleepiness come suddenly. But that is the adjustment of the body with the nature. So for those particular 15 days, you must be careful about your diet and your other routines. Avoid heavy foods in those particular days and adjust your diet according to the season for the next season, and then you will be in perfect state of health. Usually these infectious diseases like flu, influenza, they come in these season change periods, like the beginning of rainy season. There is sudden outbreak of flus, general flus, viral infections. There is outbreak that is due to this low of immunity during season change. So observe that period. So again, be mindful, focus on your body. Slowly you will start noticing these changes, and you will be able to adjust your health according to the cycle of nature. Okay. Again, Rutucharya is a very big description. What I have briefed is what you can focus on. Then Rasayan is the most important factor of nutrition, or what you can call nutraceuticals of Ayurveda. So Rasayan is the one which strengthens all the body tissues. These might be some dietary supplements, or might be some medicines, some herbal medicines of Ayurveda, but they benefit for our body. They improve our immunity, they increase our longevity, as well as they improve mental faculties also. So Rasayan is another important topic with which we should focus according to Prakriti. Like Vata Prakriti people should focus on the Rasayan aspect. They should have generally more of oil in. They can have oil as Rasayan. These Rasayan should be taken early in the morning, empty stomach, but you should take guidance from Ayurvedic doctor and then start Rasayan as which is suitable for your Prakriti. If you know your Prakriti, you can start, like if you have Pitta Prakriti, then you can start Amla. Now this is the season of Amla. You can have Amla, or you can have preparation of Amla in your diet, or you can have it early morning, so that it keeps a balance of your body throughout the day. That is the benefit of Rasayan. Like we have multivitamins in allopathy, similarly Rasayan is the helpful thing for building our body cells. Kapha Prakriti people should have medicines like Pippali or Gugulu, or they can have honey for Rasayan thing. But again, this all should be taken under proper guidance. Even mental Rasayans are there which help for calming the mind, like Brahmi, Shankhapushpi, Ashwagandha. These can be taken. Now immunomodulators, now Giloy or Gurvel, what we call in Marathi, it's very famous nowadays. It is again a part of Rasayan. These are immunomodulators. They directly increase your immunity.